when I'm fighting human battles, or basically any battle, but especially person versus person battles in Guild Wars. To start off, though, I need to talk about how I set up my teams. So let me share a few of my thoughts about that. And largely, I've gained these insights from listening and reading a little bit about what some of the real experts are doing. And while I'm definitely not in that class of player, certainly some of their tips have helped me a great deal, and they might help some of you as well. So the first thing is, when I'm playing in Guild Wars, managing my distance is one of the keys to my success. So doing that, one of the tips that's helped me a great deal is using ranged heroes. So I tend to focus on shooter, hunter, and assault. If needed, occasionally a warrior can be good as well, but I do tend to stay away from the scouts and bruisers. They are too vulnerable and have to get too close and don't tend to serve me well. So my ideal team, I'll state it right out, is kind of the standard favorite team. I like Sasha for my hunter, and she's my leader. The next one is Mercer, and the next one is Yumiko, my shooter. So SMY in that order when I'm setting up my team. But if you don't have Sasha, Mercer, and Yumiko, it's perfectly understandable. You can still use the characters that you do have in your repertoire and come as close as you possibly can. So other hunters that I like Carol, I like Shane as hunters. For assaults, Princess is also very good. Rosita. I also have come to appreciate the Governor in the game, even though I couldn't stand him in the series. For shooters, like I said, Yumiko is my favorite, but also Tara's excellent. Carl is good, and any other shooters that you have in your arsenal. When it comes to the level of your heroes, for Guild Wars, it's less important for you to be upgrading the level of your heroes. As a matter of fact, if you have several heroes at a very high level, Guild Wars will actually increase the difficulty of your opponents based on the level of your heroes. So I do like to get my heroes to a common level, but except for when I'm pressed to upgrade them now to a new level, I tend not to do that. So sometimes when I'm trying to upgrade my council, there are dependencies between survivor levels and council level, that sort of thing. So the time may come when I need to upgrade my level on my heroes, but for now, I just want to leave them all the same, get them to a common level, and instead, my real focus is on selecting weapons and upgrading the heck out of those weapons, and similarly upgrading my gear. So the other thing is, for my weapons and my gear, it occurred to me a little bit late in the game that I don't actually have to upgrade every weapon in my arsenal for every hero. I just need one good set of weapons that can be shared between heroes of the same class. So starting with one upgraded to the hilt weapon for my hunter, for instance, and then no matter what hunter I'm using, I can assign that weapon to them. Same thing with the gear. So that's been one of my recent learnings that's helped a great deal and allows me to play at any time with a well-equipped team. And again, the level of the weapons and the traits that the weapon possesses seems to matter far more than the actual hero using it. I say that with maybe a little reservation, because heroes also matter, especially who your team leader is. But ultimately, the weapon is going to make the difference. So, for me, here's my team. Sasha, Mercer, and Yumiko. Like I said, when we take a look in here, she's got a weapon that has some very good characteristics. So I've chosen one that gives me things like root attack. I like root attack. I like incendiary, and look, this weapon has an incendiary capacity as well. Also, weapons that will ensnare and kind of trip your opponents up are very good. All of those things are going to help decrease. The incendiary obviously is going to help decrease the health of your opponent very quickly. And also, the root attack or ensnare is going to help you control the distance by slowing the opponent down and allowing you to stay farther away. A lot of your weapons eventually will also have different special functions. So, this one again has this root attack feature, in addition to the root attack feature that's available when you're doing a charge attack. So there's a couple of different times when it may be able to root your opponent. All right, so there's my Sasha. And then similarly for Mercer, I have him set up. He's got the ensnare feature. Piercing is another good trait to have, but I do tend to favor the ones that slow people down a little bit. So we also have this crippling attack. So he's got ensnare and crippling, and he has this nifty feature of being able to shoot in a wide cone. So if people are coming from many different angles, he has the ability to get that. Now, I'm just giving examples of advantages of these particular weapons. Your weapons are going to be different, and your weapons are going to have other capabilities. But I do suggest focusing on things that will ignite and set your opponent on fire, and snare them or cripple them. If you can get lucky or piercing traits, that's great too. And of course, anything that helps to give you an extra boost when you're doing a charge attack. And Yumiko, you notice I kind of like, she's got an igniting weapon here. So she's got a 45% chance to ignite her targets. She can get a free attack as her charge attack. She's got lucky, she can cripple. So these characters are very well equipped, sorry about that, for slowing down, managing distance, and taking out their targets. Similarly for their gear, it's a little, maybe the gear, I haven't really found combinations that are like surefire wins in their gear, but there are some things that are very helpful. One is strategic or tactical trait. So taking less damage, the ability to move, that kind of thing can be super helpful. We had another one over here. Yeah, he's got tactical as well. So things that can help preserve them are good. So he's got a hazard suit, so he's less prone to problems from being ignited. If you have things like iron skin, ruthless is a good one. So when you're looking at the gear, there are both offensive traits and there are defensive traits. The offensive traits are things that will make your hero stronger or more effective in their attacks. The defensive stuff will help protect them when they get attacked. Both are obviously good and helpful, but when I'm in Guild Wars, my number one objective is to take out the opponent, not to fight a defensive game. So keeping my distance allows me to stay away farther, longer from their attacks, but I don't just want to stand there forever. I want to be able to take them out and stop their attack altogether. So when I have the opportunity, I do tend to focus more on the offensive traits for their protective gear. All right, let's talk just a moment about supports. You'll notice on the bottom of my team, and this is my A team that I use almost all the time, I do have some supports in here. Rather than try to poke on them here, let me go over to the supports page and talk about them a little bit. Now, you may or may not have any supports right now, but over time you'll get them from running some of the regular missions during the course of the week. You'll get tokens for these things, and eventually you can unlock them. Right now, I have Michonne's Rainbow Cat assigned to Yumiko. So this will give her, when I activate it, it'll give her an opportunity to get an additional charge point. So it's like getting additional turn, especially when I'm under the gun. And there's also a chance that she might give one of my other team members a charge point as well, so that they can have an additional attack. This can really help me when I'm either in trouble or when there's just a lot of attackers coming from different directions and I need a little extra boost. So there are limitations on the supports. You notice here it says last stand cooldown 10 turns. What that means is I can only use this feature and activate it once every 10 turns. So when I use it, I won't be able to use it again for 10 turns. So that's kind of how these supports work. Right now, I'm also using Carol's Cookies, and I use that right now with my Mercer, who's my assault character. And the reason that I use it with him is because he is not his weapons and his own power is not the strongest from within my team. So when I have a wide range of enemies that I need to take out, or even maybe just one really strong enemy that I have to take out, Carol's Cookies, when I activate it, will really boost his power and give it all he's got, in addition to activating all his traits. So he's going to, like, 100% of everything. He's going to give it in that one burst of attack. And that comes in mighty handy. Again, I can only use it once every 10 turns, so I want to be judicious when I activate it. And then right now I'm also using Walker Mike. I have that currently set up for Sasha. Walker Mike is kind of neat because he allows, when I activate him, Sasha can run past other walkers without being attacked. And she also gets one additional turn without being attacked. So in terms of moving, if she's getting cornered or I need to move her in such a way, perhaps to take out a human enemy, I don't have to waste my move taking care of the immediately nearby walkers. I can instead move her past those walkers and line myself up to take a shot at my other opponent or my other target on the next turn. So there's one other one that I currently have unlocked, and that's the Huacha. Huacha was actually the first support that unlocked for me, and it probably will be for you too. Huacha is actually very cool, even though I'm not using it right now. It basically, if you haven't ever seen one work, they're fascinating, but they send a volley of arrows to a wide area, a target area on your field, and it's like having another person attacking. It's really quite useful. So once you get that, add it to your team. Give it a try when you need to. Again, just like all the others, there's a long recharge period for Huacha, so make sure you use it when you really need it. Okay, that's a little bit about how I select my team. Oh, I did want to mention a little bit about some of the warriors in our team. So even though I don't have warriors set up right now, Ezekiel is a great warrior, Beta is a great warrior, and Tyrese. I'll mention a little bit about Beta in terms of usefulness. If you do happen to be using him, he has the ability to herd walkers. So when he walks past the walkers, there are some conditions applied, but he has the ability to draw walkers along with him. That can also be useful in kind of lining up your battlefield the way you want it to be, or maybe moving some walkers to an area or away from an area so that your other characters can also be effective. So keep that in mind when you do get beta and you start playing with him. But again, relative to your teams, I would urge whoever is your best shooter, whoever's your best assault, whoever's your best hunter, get those on your team and be selective about who you make as your leader for the team, and then equip them to the hilt. One more little thing about weapons and upgrades, in case I didn't mention it already. Let's take a look, for instance, at Yumiko's weapon. She's got the flaming crossbow. The original level of this weapon was a 27. When I did standard upgrades, I did 3 standard upgrades, and each time I did it, it unlocked an additional trait. Once I got to level 30, all the traits were unlocked, and that was pretty good. But you notice when you look at the level up in the upper left-hand corner, it says level 30 plus 2. I have been able to increase the level of this weapon, or the effective level of this weapon, by doing 2 additional upgrades on it. And using, if you look at the very top of my screen, you'll see where you see my gas and it says full. Right next to that, you'll see 791 upgrade tokens. That's the amount of upgrade tokens that I have in my stash that can be used in combination with the experience points or gold to upgrade your weapon. So just because your weapon is upgraded and all the traits are unlocked, you still may be able to use those upgrade tokens along with your experience tokens to do 2 more upgrades and bring that level even higher. So again, upgrade your weapons, and when you're done upgrading the weapons, you can go back and start doing the same thing with the gear that you're using for your heroes. Okay, let's pause this, and I'll come back and we'll actually get into Guild Wars and talk about strategies for taking out those human enemies.